Rare's newest official Sea of Thieves podcast offered a wealth of information regarding the new seasonal model introduced in Season 17, their approach to world building, and insights gained from Season 17. Rare is also aiming for greater transparency with Sea of Thieves through the Big Listen survey. Could all these things mark a positive shift for the game? Let's dive in. Rare kicked off the podcast discussing the lessons they learned in Season 17. In creative director Mike Chapman's own words, "I mean, we've learned lots of things. I think firstly, with how it's landed with players, I think it's fair to say it's been mixed. I think depending on the type of player that you are, and if you've been playing Sea of Thieves for a while, and you've been kind of playing all the new content that we had with their seasons, I think it's fair to say that the act structure has taken some time to bed in." Mike Chapman then goes on and states that Rare faced limitations with Season 17. He attributed the mixed reactions particularly to Season 17 Act 1, to their sandbox remixing implementation not being received as favorably as anticipated. Look, my quick thoughts on this, it's not surprising that Season 17 had a weak launch. Act 1 seemed rushed, with the kegs being a fun, but limited edition. The single voyage and the placement of smuggler items around islands, which really reassembles Merchant Alliance items with a slight twist, suggests a quickly assembled start of the season. Mike Chapman did hint at constraints during development, possibly due to recent Microsoft layoffs and Rare's studio reorganization, where different teams are now working on various aspects of the game. And I understand that it's likely for most players who have been playing the game for years to get used to this new seasonal model. But it really comes down to how the act structure is executed with enough content that is not only fresh, but engaging enough to strike a balance between veterans and new players as well. Rare then goes on to discuss the new seasonal model that's been in effect since Season 17. The biggest thing they want you to understand is that the seasonal model is designed to always have something to look forward to in Sea of Thieves, and the structure of the acts will always give players some new type of content every 4 weeks. Rare essentially wants you to digest a small amount of content every 4 weeks instead of dropping all the content at once. While I understand what Rare is trying to do here, long term, I'm not sure if this new seasonal model will always sit well with all types of players. This seasonal model presents a much more digestible way for newcomers to Sea of Thieves to be able to enjoy leveling up their faction towards Pirate Legend and unlocking other parts of the game while still dabbling into seasonal content there and there if they choose to. In my opinion, it seems like this seasonal model overall wants to have everyone aligned in one type of seasonal objective every 4 weeks instead of introducing the content all at once and giving the player freedom on how much seasonal content they want to consume from the start. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and Rare seems confident their act structure will have more purpose and more impact leading all the way up to 3 acts in a single season. It's a much more structurally digestible approach, and at the end of the day, we will see how this new seasonal model will play out in future seasons and whether players will receive it well or not. Continuing on, Rare discusses how world building will be a bigger focus moving forward, and how it contributed towards Season 17. In their own words, I think that what we're doing with Season 17 is getting back to what we used to love doing, which is the small little tweaks and subtle changes, dropping these breadcrumbs and allowing players to put together a picture. Now, what does Rare have up behind their sleeves with this older approach to world building? Creative director Mark Chapman explains, and you'll see us scale and do things like that where there'll be these little moments where the world feels like it's moved forwards. But what we're doing in 17 with the smugglers into 18 with the banished ancients and beyond is very much one connected story that's being delivered through the gameplay, but with these little narrative beats that players uncover. Rare wants to incorporate future seasons with not only a focus on a story that will stretch beyond just one season, but also reveal itself during gameplay in subtle moments as you progress into different acts of the season. Whether it be subtle changes you see in the environment or sudden clues you uncover with NPCs, Rare wants the player to connect the dots and uncover the story as the season progresses. My thoughts on this is that I am glad Rare is going back to the style of world building they enjoy. When developers work on things they are most passionate about, good results usually come. But at the same time, Rare needs to be mindful of what the players wants as well. Sea of Thieves was released back in 2018, and the game has evolved over the years. If Rare wants to incorporate subtle changes in early acts of a season, there needs to be more fresh ideas that will keep the players engaged and intrigued. Tweaking existing mechanics in a game, in my opinion, can only get you so far when it comes to player interest, and eventually, the player will start getting bored after so many little tweaks. Rare needs to breathe some life into Sea of Thieves and develop some new mechanics while also still tweaking on existing mechanics as well. And finally, Rare discusses what they're calling the Big Listen survey that was conducted around Season 16. The head of community and communications, Christina McFarlane, had this to say in quote, "We sent out our first survey for Season 16, and we had a lot of people respond and a lot of insight, which I do want to take some time to go through some of the key insights, because in the new kind of spirit of being transparent, we're on a podcast, we should talk about this, provide some context, and kind of almost provide a bit of a reaction." My thoughts on this is that I think this is a good move by Rare. It shows that the developers are willingly wanting to hear feedback about seasons once they conclude, and going over the results during podcasts adds another layer that shows that they want to take player feedback seriously, which I think is a win-win for both the players and the devs. This level of transparency between developers and players should help both sides find common ground on what kind of seasonal content players like and don't like. It will be interesting to see what the overall perception of Season 17 was, and how Rare will take this information and improve future seasons if the results of Season 17 are mixed or below average. Given all these changes Rare is doing to Sea of Thieves, and this new level of transparency Rare is showcasing, do you believe this is a genuine attempt by Rare to keep players happy and to improve not only future seasons, but the game as a whole? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching this video. Support the channel by giving us a like, comment, and subscribe for more Sea of Thieves content. As always, my name is AG, and I'll see you in the next one.